Let's learn how to ask, which is A in Japanese. First, try saying, A is this. How do you say it? Hi, so this.
A はこれです。
So can you turn this into the question, is A this? That's already too easy for you.
A はこれですか?
This question is usually asked when you can make a guess, A might be this. But what if you have absolutely no idea which A is? You should ask like this. Is A, which?
A はどれですか?
Since we can't guess the ko-re part, we replace it with the interrogative word, do-re, which means, which.
どれ?
This is how you ask, which is A in Japanese. It's used in the same way as the interrogative word, do-ko, we learned last time.
どこ?
Do you remember what do-ko means? That's right, it's where.
A はどこですか?
Now let's practice today's sentence.
A はどれですか? A はどれですか?
Very good. By the way, there are two types of which in Japanese. One is do-re, which we just practiced, and this is used when there are 3 or more options. When there are only 2 options, we ask,
A はどっちですか?
This Docchi is the interrogative version of kachi, sachi, achi, which we learned in the last lesson. These are demonstratives that indicate direction or side. In this case, it's like asking, which side? Let's practice.
A はどっちですか?
Excellent. And here's a more polite and formal way to say this.
A はどちらですか?
This, do-chi-ra, is the interrogative form of the formal demonstrative group, ko-chi-ra, so-chi-ra, achi-ra. Let's practice it.
A はどちらですか?
Do-chi-ra can be used as the formal version of both do-re and Docchi. Let's move on to a real example. Imagine there are 2 cars here. This is how you say car in Japanese.
車.
Great. So how do you say your car? Hi, so this.
あなたの車.
We've already learned that your is anata no. Now ask this question. Which is your car? Fantastic.
あなたの車はどっちですか? あなたの車はどっちですか?
Beautiful. But if there are 3 or more cars, how do you ask, which is your car? Amazing.
あなたの車はどれですか? あなたの車はどれですか?
You've now mastered which in Japanese. Now let's go one step further. Let's say there are 2 pens here. Can you say this? Which is your pen? Perfect.
あなたのペンはどっちですか?
Now, let's say this. Which is your pen, this or this? You already know how to say this, right? Yes, that's right.
これ.
One thing to note is that in Japanese, when listing options like this, we use and instead of or to connect the words. Do you remember how to say and in Japanese? Right on.
と.
Now, try saying this and this. Awesome.
これとこれ。
So where do we put this list of options? Let's go back to the simple question we practiced earlier. The list of options goes here. It's then connected to Docchi with the particle, no. This means, which of this and this? Let's practice just this part.
これとこれのどっち。これとこれのどっち。
Great. The particle, na, is similar in usage and meaning to apostrophe and s. So in meaning, it's almost the same as the English of. However, be careful, as the word order before and after of is reversed in Japanese and English. Now let's practice the whole sentence.
あなたのペンはこれとこれのどっちですか？あなたのペンはこれとこれのどっちですか？
Beautiful. By the way, this sentence has two options. How do you say it when there are three, Kore, options? Which is your pen? This, or this?
あなたのペンはこれとこれとこれのどれですか？
Awesome. However, listing the options one by one like this can get difficult when there are a lot of them. So, let's practice saying it all together like this. Which of these is your pen?
あなたのペンはこの中のどれですか？
We practiced this, naka, in the last lesson. It means inside. Kono is an adjective form of kore and is the same as saying kore na. So, kono naka means inside of this. And kono naka no dore means which inside of this, and therefore, which of these. Let's practice this version.
あなたのペンはこの中のどれですか？あなたのペンはこの中のどれですか？
Brilliant. Here's the last one. Let's practice how to answer these questions. It's easy if one of the options given is your pen. For example, try saying, my pen is this. Great.
私のペンはこれです。
Beautiful. But what if both pens are yours? You can say, both are mine.
どっちも私のです。
We previously learned that the particle, mo, means also. When you add, mo, after, Docchi, it means both. And you already know how to say, mine. Let's practice.
どっちも私のです。どっちも私のです。
Excellent. On the other hand, what if neither pen is yours? You can say, neither is mine.
どっちも私のではありません。
Just change the dis part to the negative form. Let's practice.
どっちも私のではありません。どっちも私のではありません。
Very good. But what if there are more than 3 pens? Let's try saying, all is mine.
どれも私のです。
Adding mo to Docchi makes it mean, both. Adding mo to Dore means, all. Let's practice.
どれも私のです。どれも私のです。
Great. So, how do you say if none of them are yours? Amazing.
どれも私のではありません。どれも私のではありません。
Fantastic. But this sentence is long, isn't it? Let's learn a shorter, more versatile phrase.
どれも違います。
Chi ga imasu is a verb meaning differ. We'll learn more about verbs in later lessons. A literal translation of this sentence would be, all differ, that is, none of them is the case. Of course, this can be used with Docchi mo, as well as Dore mo. Let's practice both.
どれも違います。どっちも違います。
Very good. By the way, the expression, chi ga imasu, can also be used to answer a question with, no. For example, if you're asked, is this car yours?
この車はあなたのですか？
If the answer is no, you can reply, no, it is not mine.
いいえ、私のではありません。
This is, of course, correct. However, you can answer this even shorter. No, that's not the case.
いいえ、違います。いいえ、違います。
This is a versatile, short, and polite answer that can be used for many questions. You're already familiar with the similar way to answer, yes. What is it? Hi, so this.
はい、そうです。
Very good. Now, in the next part, let's practice conversations using the expressions we learned today. Today the tourist is at the hotel breakfast buffet. First, listen to the whole conversation.
すみません、ミルクはどれですか？ミルクはこちらです。そうですか、どうも。いいえ。あと、砂糖はどっちですか？お砂糖は右です。左は塩です。危なかった。
Now let's look at it sentence by sentence. The guest speaks to the restaurant waiter.
すみません、ミルクはどれですか？
This first phrase you already know. It is the Japanese version of, excuse me. Miruku is the English word, milk, pronounced in Japanese style.
ミルク。
The proper Japanese word for milk is said like this.
牛乳。
The first character means cow, the second means milk. It literally means cow's milk. Either way of saying it will be understood. Here the guest is looking for milk among many pitchers lined up. So to ask, which one, he uses, Dore. Let's practice the whole sentence.
すみません、ミルクはどれですか？
A good start. The waiter points to the milk and says,
ミルクはこちらです。
the milk is this one. This is easy. Ko-chi-ra, in this case is a more polite version of ko-re. Let's practice both.
ミルクはこちらです。ミルクはこれです。
Perfect. After being shown, the guest thanks him.
そうですか、どうも。
So desu ka, as you know means, I see. And, domo, is a short phrase to express thanks. Do you remember the proper way to express gratitude? That's right.
ありがとうございます。
Now let's practice the previous sentence.
そうですか、どうも。
Very good. In response the waiter says,
いいえ。
You all know this word well. It is the Japanese, no. However, It can also be used as a shorter version of, "You're welcome." It is a shortened form of, "No, it was nothing worth thanking me for." Do you remember the proper way to say, "You're welcome"? Excellent.
どういたしまして。
That is the proper way to say it. But in busy situations, this short version is quite useful. Let's practice.
いいえ。
Then the guest has another question.
あと、砂糖はどっちですか？
This filler word, no, needs no explanation now. The word, ato, has two meanings. One is, after. For example, after dinner, is said like this.
ディナーの後。
This is the original meaning of, ato. The other meaning is, and also. In spoken Japanese, ato is used as a connector to add something. So here it adds another question after the first one. Now what is the question? The guest is looking for sugar to put in coffee. Since the question is about which of the two containers it is, the word Docchi is used. Let's practice.
あと、砂糖はどっちですか？
Beautiful. The waiter answers.
お砂糖は右です。
The sugar is on the right. He says, "Osato," instead of, "sato." In Japanese, to make a noun polite, you add the prefix, o, like the, o, in, otarai, we practiced last time. Some words require, o, some sound odd with it, and some can go either way. For example, sato can be said with or without, o. But words like these almost always take, o, as part of the word. Toilet.
お手洗い。
Tea.
お茶。
Rice ball.
おにぎり。
Money.
お金。
Sweets and snacks.
お菓子。
Whether, o, is necessary, is not decided by rules, so the best thing to do is to use the word repeatedly to get used to it. And here is another new word. Migi means right. In Japanese, migi alone can have a wide range of meanings, such as, to the right, on the right, or, the one on the right. He is explaining that the container on the right is sugar. We practiced position words last time. Do you remember how to say them? Upper position.
上。
Lower position.
下。
Inside.
中。
Side.
横。
Great. Today we add, right,
右。
and left.
左。
You have learned many words already. Let's practice the whole sentence.
お砂糖は右です。
Very good. Then the waiter explains another container.
左は塩です。
On the left is salt. You just learned, left. Shio means salt. This word too can be said with or without, o. Let's practice.
左は塩です。
Excellent. Finally, hearing this, the guest mutters.
危なかった。
That was close. He almost put a lot of salt in his coffee. This is a set phrase used when you narrowly avoid an undesirable situation. It comes from the adjective, abunai, meaning dangerous.
危ない。
We will soon begin learning adjectives. This is not a polite form, but when speaking to yourself it is usually said this way. If you're saying this to someone else rather than to yourself, you can make it polite by saying it like this.
危なかったです。
Adding dis makes it polite. Furthermore, adding the particle na at the end gives it the nuance of, isn't it, making it a more empathetic expression. Let's practice all these variations.
危なかった。危なかったです。危なかったですね。
Marvelous. Now, let's practice the whole conversation once. Listen to each sentence and repeat it.
すみません、ミルクはどれですか？ミルクはこちらです。そうですか、どうも。いいえ。あと、砂糖はどっちですか？お砂糖は右です。左は塩です。危なかった。
Now let's do some role playing. First, in part 1, you'll play the role of the guest. Then, in part 2, you'll play the role of the waiter. Let's get started. Hajime.
ミルクはこちらです。いいえ。お砂糖は右です。左は塩です。すみません、ミルクはどれですか？そうですか、どうも。あと、砂糖はどっちですか？危なかった。
Great job, everyone. In the next lesson, before we move on to the adjective lesson, let's practice how to ask questions using another important interrogative word, who. See you again.
ではまた。